in there and then we'll start recording. Okay, now I'm going to YouTube. Today we need to hit record first. I need to hit record. Oh, there's Mackenzie coming on. Okay. Now back to Zoom. So today we're going to talk a bit about Microsoft Office 365 and Copilot and what you can do. Who in here is on Microsoft? You know, raise your hand or okay, Dan. Mackenzie, you're not. You're on. And Lisa, you're not.
We're on Google.
You're what? Okay. Okay. Well, what I think is interesting about what they're doing is Google has added Duet to the workspace. And I think if we look at what Copilot's doing, Duet is going to do that. They're just a little bit behind Microsoft right now. And the functionality is not quite there. Microsoft has a pretty impressive way of processing information once you're really in their environment. So I'm going to be showing you a few videos that Microsoft put out about what Copilot can do. I have an occurrence of Microsoft, but there's not that much information in there to make it snazzy for a demo. So I'm just going to show you some of the Microsoft demos, and it might give you an idea of some of the different things that you could do too. So let me pull those up. I've got a little playlist going of these. And I was in Redmond, Washington last week where Microsoft headquarters are. And I got a demo of Copilot for small businesses and kind of how they anticipate business owners using it on a day-to-day basis. And I really wanted to show that to everyone. And I know some people are going to be watching this recording, and there are a lot of people on the Microsoft environment now. A lot switched over during COVID for various reasons, but many people have switched over just to use Copilot. All right, so we'll start here. We can put some music on too. Yeah, that was a very impressive overview.
Business Chat works across all your data and apps to help you do things you've never been able to do before. Let's say you're preparing for a customer meeting. You start by asking Copilot to summarize all your recent customer interactions, meetings, content you've shared, any issues, and deliverables. Copilot works across your calendar, emails, chats, documents, and meetings to find all the pertinent information. Now you've got a concise summary, complete with citations. You can hover over the citations to verify sources or learn more. You know product lead times are likely to come up in the conversation, so you ask Copilot to help. Copilot combs through all your documents, meetings, emails, files, and company resources to get you what you need. With Copilot, you're always prepared. Microsoft 365 Copilot is powered by what we call the Copilot system, a sophisticated processing and orchestration engine. It harnesses the power of three foundational technologies: the Microsoft 365 apps, that's Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Teams, and more. The Microsoft Graph, that's all your content and context, your emails, files, meetings, chats, and calendar. And a large language model, or LLM, a creative engine capable of parsing and producing human-readable text, all accessible through natural language. It starts with a prompt from you in an app. Copilot pre-processes the prompt through an approach called grounding. Put simply, grounding improves the quality of the prompt, so you get answers that are relevant and actionable. One of the most important parts of grounding is making a call to the Microsoft Graph to retrieve your business content and context. Copilot combines this user data from the graph with other inputs to improve the prompt. It then sends that modified prompt to the LLM. You may be familiar with what an LLM can do based on your experience with ChatGPT or Bing Chat. Copilot takes the response from the LLM and post-processes it. This post-processing includes additional grounding calls to the graph, responsible AI checks, security, compliance, and privacy reviews, and command generation. Finally, Copilot sends a response to the user and commands back to the apps. Copilot iteratively processes and orchestrates these sophisticated services to produce a result that feels like magic.
Okay, there are some more videos to watch, but I wanted to have a little chat about this and bring up this graph because this is how LLMs work to process your information. And it has the Copilot in the middle, but when we're using other tools to connect it through with an API or some middleware, it's kind of doing this same thing. And what they're calling the graph is your knowledge base, is usually how we refer to it. This is the knowledge base of all of your information about your company, your brand, your voice, your products, any of that. And it has to get processed through the LLM and then, spun into any of the apps that you're using. So I think it's a really useful diagram to explain how these things are happening. And I was curious if you had any questions or comments about this.
I thought it was interesting how it goes through what they're calling the Microsoft Graph or knowledge base, then goes through the language model, and then goes back again. And so it scrapes it over again. I think that extra step is just making it even better. So not just starting from the knowledge base, but also then going over it one more time before it then sends it back to the app. I think that's a really great thing.
I'm curious about the reference that it made to sort of improving the prompt in the intermediary stage before it goes to your graph and before it goes out to the LLM. So that would suggest that it has innate AI that's independent from the LLM that it's using to try and up your prompt engineer game
Yeah.
in the middle.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it's inferring with that, is there's something in there that processes it and then puts it in the language to give you the best results. And in practice, I'm not sure how much better it is currently. Yeah. I'm curious what the experience is like, which we'll be playing with soon. And Dan, do you have Copilot?
I assume I do. I've used some of the really low-level AI tools that they've had embedded now for a
Yeah.
little while, but not Copilot specifically.
Okay.
Nicole, so do they have their own proprietary LLM or are they outsourcing that?
They use OpenAI. That's who they've invested hundreds of millions, if not billions, into OpenAI. And they've been involved in OpenAI since, I want to say 2015, somewhere around there. So they've been working on this long game project with them. And that's what's processing your information. If you did this in your own occurrence inside of Azure, it can use any LLM that you want, but the native one is OpenAI, which I'm surprised it didn't say that. It just says large language model and it didn't say OpenAI
It's one
in
of the
there.
reasons I asked, yeah.
Yeah, but that is, and to get it in your occurrence of 365, you have to pay like $30. And depending on which tools you want to use, sometimes you have to pay per seat in the different tools too. But for 365, it's $30 a month per seat. And they make you buy 12 months at a time.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. Lisa, did you have any questions or comments over there?
Yeah, this is great, but I'm a Google user. Does Google do
Yeah.
something similar?
Well, so just keep an eye on it because Google is supposed to. And Google has Duet and you have to pay for it. We have Duet installed in our Google Workspace. And it does not, I mean, have you played with Duet at all?
No.
Okay. When I get done with the Copilot videos, I can show you Duet and it's gonna pale in comparison right now.
Well, I think overall, I mean, and I'm cognizant of this, overall, Google's behind the curve.
They
We-
sure are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are some things that you can do. So when you're in a Google Doc, I can go in and have it change the formatting of something. Like if I have something that I want in bullet points, I can say to apply bullet points or take out all the bullet points or revise this section. Like there's things that you can do with Duet, and I'll show you where that is
Okay.
when we get through this. And I just wanted to show Copilot because it is ahead. And the things that you can do are so cool. And I'm sure that Google's going to catch up. And who knows if it's 6 months or a year or how long it's going to take them. And then I know Microsoft their stock is up and they're getting a lot more users because of Copilot. And they're hiring in full force.
Huh.
Copilot in Excel helps you make sense of all your data. Say you need to analyze this quarter's sales results. You start by asking Copilot to analyze the data and give you 3 key trends. Within seconds, you've got what you need. But
Okay, I wanted to say too, you could take a spreadsheet and put it into ChatGPT, or you could put it into Anthropic's Claude 2 and ask it these same questions. But it's going to be native inside of these, so there are other ways to get this information. It's just not native yet.
But you want to drill in. You ask Copilot a follow-up question about one of the trends. Copilot creates a new sheet, giving you a sandbox to play in and helping you better understand what's happening. You ask Copilot to visualize what contributed to the decline in sales growth this period. Copilot adds a little color to make the problem jump off the page. Now you want to dig deeper and ask a follow-up question with a what-if scenario. Copilot not only answers your question, it creates a simple model and even asks if you want to learn more about what it did with a step-by-step breakdown. Finally, you can ask it to create a graph of your projected model. Copilot in Excel turned a sea of data into clear insights and actions.
Copilot in Microsoft 365 can help you unleash creativity at work. Imagine you need to create a rock-solid proposal to win the business, and you don't have time for writer's block. You can use Copilot to draft a proposal based on your customer notes in OneNote, as well as another internal document. Copilot scans the target files and gets to work, quickly generating a first draft with all the key details from the files you provided. Now, let's say you want this to look like your previous proposals. Copilot can give you a draft in the format you typically use. It inserts product images and pulls in relevant visuals from other files. You can include a short summary at the top of the document. And Copilot can make suggestions to strengthen the proposal, like adding an FAQ, which it will generate for you to refine.
Copilot in Teams makes
I think we'll stop there for today. We could go on. I'll share a link to this playlist. So if you want to look at it anymore. But this is an example of what you can do. And when it was in Excel and it was analyzing the information and giving insights, you can do that in another LLM. But you can't have it create another sheet for you unless you have something, you've got something tied in that will magically do that for you. So it's a lot of like having it natively inside just gives you a lot of advantages. With Google, there are Chrome extensions that can help you inside of the different tools. And the Chrome extensions there's some for Excel, there's some for PowerPoint, and their version of Copilot is called Duet. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to open up this and show.
I just wanted to add something in there too, because whether you're using Microsoft or Google or whatever you're using, all of these concepts sort of go across all of them. Not only that, but it's the idea of you're already using this system. It crawls your knowledge base automatically because you're already using the environment. So there's no need to build a knowledge base or put your files anywhere else. It's going to be using what you're already doing in the system, whether it's Microsoft or Google, and that way it's scraping your own information.
Yeah, and Google's not taking your information yet, just Microsoft and Copilot is, and Google should be able to. Dan, did you have a question or comment?
I do. So, we've talked about Jasper and kind of creating your castle within the moat and how you organize that, making a difference in how it can access different things. So, for example, you could say, use this particular type of campaign, write it in this person's voice for this particular product, and make it look a lot like the last product launch we did. And if you've organized your information, Jasper can go access that way.
Yeah.
I'm curious if you know yet whether Copilot has essentially the same functionality. So it's crawling what they're calling your graph, but that's your castle, right? And it's making it feel or sound like a black box kind of a process. It goes to your graph and it looks for things, right? Can your prompts within the UI that's now embedded in these different things like Excel, can you be specific and say, go look at this, that, and the other thing and answer the following question for me?
Yeah, in that last demo, they were putting together a proposal and they pulled in multiple sources of information. You would need to know what those documents are called and kind of where they live or what the topic is and have it pull in. This is where naming conventions are going to be really, really important because if you have multiple documents that contain sort of same words, it's going to pull from those. And it didn't look like you could select specific knowledge-based pieces. But it will serve up pieces for you. And so your prompting still has to be somewhat good, accurate, to be able to leverage the knowledge that's in there appropriately.
Are they going to offer a standalone Copilot interface that you can interact with as part of the 365 suite, as opposed to the embedded versions of it that exist within their other apps?
That's a good question. I've seen it embedded everywhere. I don't know about just a Copilot standalone. I don't know that you would, what are you thinking of the use case for that?
Well, hypothetically, I could ask it to create multiple pieces of collateral, a set
Mm,
of projections and a pitch deck in PowerPoint and a narrative summary piece in Word, from a standalone interface and have it access the different utilities as well as my full knowledge base.
You got like a campaign in Jasper, how you can do that now. I also think, Dan, that if they're gonna set more parameters, and I don't see why they wouldn't, just because there are other smaller entities that have the brand voice and like all of these things that you can pull in, like why wouldn't they do that? So I would think, and this is just my guessing, if they had the standalone, that's where you would be able to set like the parameters
Yeah.
and some of those
That's
things.
part of
And
the reason I'm
maybe
asking too. So, I mean, I can tell you why they wouldn't at this stage, and it's because Microsoft is catering to the audience that's already consuming its apps, and it's looking for a very easy way for people to get into using this.
yeah, phase one.
Yeah. Yeah. But I would think you're right. I mean, I would think at some point they would go, we need to offer, you know, a centralized gateway into this
Yep.
functionality that can then go out to all the different applications and do what it needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
so it looks like there is a standalone app and it's available on Android. So I don't know how much that's going to help you.
Lisa, did you have a question?
No, I'm thinking out loud.
Okay. It
Out
looked
loud.
like you tried to hit mute and then you were talking, so.
Yeah, no, I'm just sitting here going, come on, Google, catch up because
Yeah,
I don't want to switch over to Microsoft.
we all are
I
thinking
know.
that.
Yeah. So I'll show you what Google can do right now. So right now, there's this little pencil with the magic sort of icon that has kind of come into play, meaning that you're using AI. And we have that in Zoom and a lot of other places you'll start to see that. And so I can have it help me write something. And look at this. We've got some meeting notes, email draft. I can specify what I want it to write, but usually this little pencil occurs on the side. So if I copy and paste a bunch of text in here, I'll get the pencil on the side. So I could say, help me write summary of the functionality of Google Duet.
So could you also type in, help me schedule or give me 3 meeting slots where I'm free on my calendar?
Well, I'd have to do that from the calendar. So we
Okay.
can go to the calendar, but I don't think that it's there yet. Because right now we're just in the docs. And that's kind of what Dan was saying. Like if there was a general co-pilot or if there's a general duet, then it could access whatever you need. Okay, so let's see. Google Duet. Key features, simplified video calls, cross-platform compatibility, screen sharing, real-time collaboration, privacy, security. Huh, that's weird. Um, we'll ask it to elaborate. And one of the things I've used this for is if I'm creating something in an AI tool like ChatGPT or Anthropic, and I want to throw it in here and make it look like it's not coming from AI, then I can put the text in there and give Duet a prompt to clean it up, take out the asterisks, take out, thrilled or replace it with whatever. I can give it all of the things. So if you have one big piece of text that you need to edit or a few pages, you can give it instructions and it will clean up all of that text.
Okay.
I don't even think this is accurate. It did what I asked, but response was inaccurate. And I will share my output because I want it to get better and learn. You were asking about calendar. I don't know if we have Duet in our calendars. We see some more insights.
That was the only thing I saw right now was where it shows you like how much time you're on meetings during the day and the people you meet with.
Yeah.
Essentially, though, yes, you should be able to ask it. Can you give me some time slots for an hour someday this week, or whatever your question is. That's the idea.
Yeah. Let's
And
see.
I'm here to do a presentation.
So, Field of Tulips with skies. Whoa.
Oh, is that nice?
It's also available in your email too. So you can use that same text widget to craft your emails.
Okay, but here's the question that Nora and I were talking about. Why would I use these versus my own chat GPT that I've trained?
You
Because
would only use this if you're already in a Microsoft environment, if you're just starting, if you want to
Yeah.
go with how they've set up the flow. If you've already figured it out and got your own GPT and you're using Google and you're using Gamma and you're using these things, like there is no reason to switch. This is just showing an option for people that want it packaged into what they already have.
yeah, I just feel as though also like I've been on Google for years.
Mhm.
All my history's there.
Yeah.
That, as soon as Google gets their, whatever they're gonna name it, up to speed with the Microsoft Duet, it just seems like it's gonna learn more quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't suggest moving to Microsoft just to use this at all.
No.
Okay. So I've got this pop-up that just happened that says introducing enhanced smart fill columns faster with Duet AI.
And this is all Google right now that we're working in. This isn't Microsoft anymore. So Duet is Google's current thing. And in my history working with Google, like sometimes they are late to the game, but when they come out with something, it's usually pretty solid.
It's interesting. On my Google Docs, I have something that says analyze this already, now that I think about it.
Let's see. Is there something you could share with us?
Hold on, let me see.
Okay.
I've just noticed this come up.
I'm gonna stop this stream just in case, there's anything private that gets shared.
Yeah, I want to pull up